what's going to be? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast is inspiring young rock and roll fans to discover new music, find a place where they feel like they can connect and feel accepted. So, yep, that's where you are right now. Welcome to the show. And you know we normally bring on artists, right? And because we want to get you to know more about the great music in the music scene, in the rock and metal scene, either stuff that you know very well, or stuff that you're going to know very well, and bands that you should know because, you know, they got some great stuff coming out. We're interviewing another person today who also has a podcast that talks about some of this stuff, but also has a very much larger project behind everything to get more people into the music that they love and give bands that are coming up in the scene some of that extra support that they desperately need, even when times, you know, people aren't giving that support. So get ready for this one. Before we jump into the podcast, I think sponsorship, which comes from Phoenix Fitness. So yeah, you guys know what are my two favorite things in the world: podcasting and what? Going into concerts and going into those mosh pits. So I got to make sure that I am mosh pit fit. So mosh pit fit, and what I like to call it, is to be able to go the distance, which is from the beginning of the first band to the end of the last band and never taking a break in between. So that means I got to be cardio-wise fit enough to go from beginning. I got to have that stamina. I got to also be strong enough to be able to deliver those hits because, you know, you don't want to be a weakling in there, but also got to be strong enough to take some of those hits from those big dudes that might just throw you around. Nate, what's up, man? But what do I do for that? I go to the gym. I'm constantly in the gym, doing a lot of cardio work, doing a lot of weightlifting, but I have to make sure I'm preparing and recovering right for my body to make sure I can do it day in and day out and become mosh pit fit. So when I do, you know, 7 shows in 8 days, including a festival, yeah, I'm going to want to make sure I'm set for that. That's where Phoenix Fitness comes in. They have many types of supplements to help you achieve your fitness goals and be mosh pit fit. They have different types of supplements such as pre-workout, both stim and stim-free. I use their stim-free stuff because, guys, I don't need any more stimulants. All right, I've got enough energy as is. They also have different types of B-stable recovery compounds to help you absorb nutrients in your muscles directly after workout. They also have different types of protein, whey-based protein, plant-based protein, collagen-based protein. I use their chocolate malt-flavored whey because, ooh, that's good stuff. Creatine up in muscles, multivitamins, anything you might need to achieve your fitness goals, Phoenix Fitness has for you. So our listeners get 20% off. Use the code CBP20 at FNX.com, link description of the podcast. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. Now, our feature presentation, we have Patrick from the Where Did All My Friends Go podcast and Unsigned Pop Punk coming in. And if you like music, like discovering new music, like a community that's going to accept you for the music that you like, and above all, just a good place to, you know, hang out. That's going to promote as many great bands as possible. Chord Progression Podcast, a great place. So is Unsigned Pop Punk. So are you ready for this great one? Are you ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. You know me, I love to bring on bands from all different walks of life, especially ones that are emerging in the scene today. Rock, metal, any of the subgenres, whatever it might be, because those are the bands that are going to be the ones that are the next biggest ones in the scene. Those are going to be the ones that you want to know about, because if you don't know about them now, you can get into them and you can say, hey, I got into them early. Or you think about your favorite bands. They start out that level too. Wouldn't you want to get in on that level? And this guy right here has a whole podcast. He has a whole entire page, playlist, website, everything that helps get all of those bands, especially in the pop punk space, that kind of exposure. And I'm so happy we're able to talk to him today. The place is called Unsigned Pop Punk. The podcast, Where All My Friends Go. And you're going to want to go check it out. But before you do, let's talk with the guy and let's have a blast. So please welcome Patrick from Unsigned Pop Punk and Where All My Friends Go podcast. So Patrick, welcome to Chord Progression Podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I love the little like royal, like, you know, King of England wave. Like
that's what I was going for. You know, it's King season, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, technically, I think it's lasting all month.
Yeah, I don't really know. I know it's all over the news. You know, King's being coronated. So.
King's being coronated, and then, you know, just seeing all the crazy memes off of it with just King Charles dressed in all these crazy things, and then the people around him. It's like, oh, when you invite all your friends to play a video game you've been playing for months, it's like everyone around level 2, 3, 4, you're sitting there level 65.
I haven't seen any of the memes, but I really don't follow it very closely.
I don't either, but it's just, of course, you know, you're going to see random things pop up on any social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit. You're going to see that stuff pop up, and it's going to be like, oh, that's funny. I'm enjoying this.
Right. Yeah, I've only seen it. My wife's always watching the news when I wake up in the morning, and lo and behold, there it is, front and center, King.
Hopefully by the time the end of May comes, it's like, okay, we can focus on anything else that's not that. But then, of course, the way the world's been the past couple of years, it's like every single week, it's just going to be some new kind of big thing or some new kind of crisis keeps happening. So we're going to get something new to come in to just completely take that out of the news cycle.
Oh, absolutely.
The
prince is still planning on being there.
The prince is still planning on being there. But outside of that, man, how has everything been going in your world? How has everything been going with Unsigned Pop Punk? Where all my friends go? Just how's life been for you lately?
Good. Busy. We're pretty much we're trying to grow, and we got them growing pains. Just trying to we're trying to do way too many things for how much time we have in the day. So, but it's been a lot of fun. I'm super lucky to be able to be doing this as a job. So
I'll say that makes two of us, because man, I feel the exact same way. There's only so many hours in the day. There's so many things I want to get done for everything I'm trying to do, but there's always other things that come in to try and take that away, like a full-time job I still have to work, trying to go to the gym, going to as many concerts as I'm trying to get to, sleep, things just get in the way.
I don't even know what sleep is. I don't even know. It's gone.
It's become a completely lost concept. But I keep trying to remember. I think it might have been maybe about a year and a half ago. I started seeing you guys pop up on any kind of Instagram feed I had. I saw you guys popping up on liking some posts, and then I'm like, okay, I want to check this out because I'm curious to see what Unsigned Pop Punk is. And then seeing what you guys were doing, trying to get as many of these bands, many of these artists that were starting to get some traction, trying to get them even more exposure so that people could get into them, to not only continue to grow the genre of pop punk, but also to get these bands a lot more exposure. I saw that and thought, man, I am fully into this, because this is something that I want to see happen. This is something that I want to see, where people are actively promoting bands that are coming up and emerging in the scene. Because again, all of our favorite bands started out that time and place at some point. If we're not going to be the ones to kind of just pump them up, then a lot of them are going to continue to get lost to obscurity, and then they'll, break up and they'll go and get corporate jobs and then be like normal SpongeBob. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Pretty much started this because I was doing music and stuff for 15, 20 years or something. I don't know where we're at in time anymore. What's time? But yeah, and it's just I know what it's like to just not have anybody give a fuck about you or about your projects. Trying to get a friend to come to a show or family can be the biggest burden in the world, and so I know what it's like to just not have anybody care, and being in a band is is a very freaking difficult thing, because you're constantly trying to get people to care. And I just wanted to show, I started this because I wanted people to know that I care, and I know that there's a lot of other people out there that do care too. But we're in such a weird anyone could be a musician right now. Damn near anybody. You can record shit on your phone. You can do so much different stuff to where anyone can play music. So the music scene is insanely oversaturated. And so trying to get somebody to hear you is very difficult. So I just try and come up with different ways to try and help all of those hundreds and thousands of bands that are out there just get their voice heard. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, you just kind of breaking it down in that aspect, it's a very admirable thing to do, because just thinking about even bands that I know, or just the bands that are playing at those smaller venues, you take a look at I'll use Spotify as just the metric, because everyone uses it as the metric, that monthly listener count, even though in the end it really doesn't mean shit, because I've seen bands that had 100,000, 200,000 listeners, and then all of a sudden you see them play live in front of 1,000 people, and it's because they're the ones that are bringing them in. But then you have bands that are 6, 7 million, and it's well, you're playing in front of 20 people because that's all you could bring in. It's so that it kind of is a skewed, but it does speak to a certain piece of it where there's just so much competition out there, and it's it's just how many people are out there playing music, how many people are out there releasing music. And when you're trying to get people to come to your show, it is damn near impossible if people are just like not that fully invested into it because, oh, it's not my kind of music, or if it doesn't align perfectly with what they want to do, it's like, well, I'll go catch the next show. Well, what if there is never a next show? Or what if this is the one that's going to be the most important one for your friend at that point in time or family member? It does seem like pulling teeth at times. It's like, come on, I need you to come to this. Can you please support me? But then it's, maybe if that same person were to try and go and get, just go and get a corporate job and they post it on Facebook, all those people that said, oh, I might come to your show, they're going to be like, oh, good for you. Good for you. It's like, they're not going to support you when you're going after this specific dream. But if it's something that makes more sense to them, they're going to support you. But if you're absolutely successful in your music career and you're going to try and you start seeing it build up, those people that would are like, oh, I'm not sure. They'd be like, oh man, yeah, I've been supporting that since day one. And now you're actually giving that support to people that absolutely need it. And in a place and time where there's so much competition online, you're kind of bringing it into a potentially centralized place where people can come in and there's so many different bands that they can discover just based off of your one platform. It kind of becomes a one-stop shop in a way.
Yeah. That was kind of the whole plan. It was without stealing an entire concept, is like, well, how can we make MTV cool again? And it was like, realistically, it's like, I mean, MTV isn't doing MTV anymore, and so we're like, okay, well, what can we do that is doing it but doing it differently? And so, I mean, we have a lot of the same, like, similar concepts. We've got music video shows, we've got a request video show now and stuff. We have a podcast, our playlist, and we're constantly trying to come up with new entertaining ways to engage with people, by even with our podcast, the Word It All My Friends Go podcast, we'll have smaller up and coming bands, but then we'll also have like Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup and, more established artists on there to try and pick their brain so that, the bands or musicians that are listening can, maybe take some of those ideas. How did you get there? Okay, well, maybe I can try that. Or just that any day we try to make it entertaining for everybody as well, not just musicians. We want everybody to be able to enjoy it. So.
And just taking a look again at the podcast, it makes a lot of sense. So I was taking a look at some of the guests that you've had on. And of course, I always like to see, okay, what guests have you had on that also match up with the same guests that I've had on? Because I always love to see that. I mean, I've seen that you've had Cade Katz from the Throw the Fight on, the guys from Settle Your Scores on. I saw you had Casey Cavalier from the Wonder Years on. I'm just like, oh man, this bird. And then all of a sudden I saw you guys had Magnolia Park on, and I'm just like, man, I've been trying to get that one for a while. What the hell? Having fun with it. But I love what you said about kind of trying to bring back MTV, because MTV is not doing MTV. And I just watched a video from Finn McKenty from the Punk Rock NBA where he had a whole entire video around its downfall. And mostly it was around TRL's downfall. And the main thing about it was just, people would come there in the 90s, early 2000s to discover new music because of how much it was being put out there. But then as the internet came into play, streaming came into play, YouTube, everything around there, it was so much more easier and viable for people to do it on their own, maybe get down to more of a niche because people could go to the specific niche that they wanted to, see these music videos, discover these new bands. Because what happens if, kind of think back to like 1999, what happens if, you're a heavy metal fan and you want to see some Korn and Limp Bizkit on TRL, but you're constantly getting the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC? You're probably going to back out from that. But if you got something that's perfectly in your niche, you're going to become like a super fan of that because you're discovering new bands and you're able to connect with people who are liking the same kind of music you are.
Absolutely. I think one of the other big downfalls of TRL is that they got to a point to where they weren't even playing like the entire music video. They would only play like 30 seconds of it. And it's like, well, that's not what we're watching the show for. Like, what are you doing? And so it was almost like their whole channel, the music videos, wasn't the main focus anymore. Like, wasn't even a focus, and obviously, as we know now, music videos are not a focus on MTV. Like I don't even know if they have music videos on there ever anymore. I don't know. I haven't watched MTV in years.
I mean, if you ask me what MTV is, I'm still like, is it still the Jersey Shore channel? Like, that's pretty much
No,
what
it's
I'm thinking it is.
ridiculousness. That's only
Oh,
ridiculousness. Yeah.
okay, so it's just ridiculousness 24/7. Now that makes sense. Just something you can put
Yeah.
on in the background because it's quick, it's flashy, you don't have to pay attention to it, but you're going to see a funny clip every 15 seconds.
Don't get me wrong. I fucking love ridiculousness. I love Rob Dyrdek. I think all his shows are great. I love it. But it's basically like the Rob Dyrdek channel now, it seems like. And I'm like, change it to that. Maybe I'll be more about it.
Yeah, RDTV, Rob Dyrdek TV, and not MTV, and then just kind of have MTV kind of just slowly become kind of just. I mean, it could have become like its own internet thing, and really had taken over had they gone down that path.
Right.
But because of what people are doing with streaming, what people are doing on YouTube with the reaction videos, everything around there, it's not viable to do it necessarily on like a huge access type of channel like
Right.
MTV on cable, but to do it on a streaming site, to do it online, do it on social media, have it be connected on those platforms where so many more people are paying attention to it and the music is directly there. So all of a sudden, say you're playing a song, say you have the music video on, and all of a sudden, hey, I like that song, I want to go check it out. I can potentially just click, like tap a link that's on that, like that's on screen, and boom, now I access to Spotify. I've got that song ready to go, and I can save it and put on a playlist wherever I want to go. The easiness of getting into these bands and to get their music and to find out their music and then get that music into your normal rotation is so much more convenient now because of that.
Yeah, it is. It's such a different world. Like in just with streaming in general, because it's difficult because you can't not be on Spotify. You just can't do it. But they don't pay bands very much, and it's super difficult. But it's one of those things you have to do, and you have to like learn how to work around that sort of stuff. So that's why like live shows, that's where you're going to make a lot of your money, and merch and things like that. Going back to what we were talking about earlier with live shows and people not necessarily like having big crowds at them, I think a lot of that also stems back to when Facebook took over as like the social media, and that's all it was, because we had MySpace, and that was king. And then Facebook took over and just completely destroyed everything that MySpace had built. Like bands were just fucked. You had no social media anymore. And so the only thing you could do is like, well, I'll post my show on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. And people have come to such a point now to where it's word of mouth. If I'm going to play a show, or if I'm promoting a show, I'm going to hound the shit out of you. Like you are going to know that there is a show, because like there's like this rule of 3. If somebody doesn't see it 3 times, that's after the 3rd times when they're finally going to click. They're actually going to see it and be like, oh, you could tell your friend, hey, I have a show in 3 months. You should come to it. And if you don't tell them again, they're not coming. Like you got to promote yourself. You got to put yourself out there. You got to be pestery. It's part of the game. You just got to know the best way to do it. But to get people out to shows, like another thing that I think a lot of smaller bands will do is play their scene too much. They'll play every week or every 2 weeks, and that's also going to divide your entire crowd. You're not going to get as many people to each show if you're playing every week, because I'll see you next week.
Yeah, I've had conversations about that too. I think that might have actually been with Casey from the Wonder Years, where it's like, oh, if you're constantly playing the same market, it's like, oh, I can see you next week, or I can see when it's more convenient. So if you're playing, 4 shows in the span of 2 months, and your whole entire audience might show up to those shows, but it's going to be maybe you're going to get 1/6 of the audience to show up to the first one. You're going to get 1/4 to show up to the second one. You're going to get 1/2 to show up to the third one. You're going to get the stragglers to show up to the last one. So you're playing 4 shows, but you're only getting the viability of one based off of that. And it's just going to oversaturate to the point where people that know you are going to know that, you're going to be playing multiple shows. They're going to find one that's going to be more convenient for them, and they're not going to show up if they don't have to. It makes it tougher. I do want to go back to what you were talking about with Facebook kind of killing that, and it kind of adds to a little bit of a different way of how Facebook killed it. I've had this conversation before. So go back to MySpace, and MySpace really had such a powerful impact for the scene with just getting bands noticed, getting them popular, just getting people to get into them. I mean, Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Paramore, Bring Me to the Horizon. Just a couple examples of bands that really took that and ran with it. But then Facebook comes along, and it becomes this whole different revolution in terms of how people are connecting online. People are socially interacting with each other. And yes, what you said about them completely killing the viability of bands, especially in the early stages, absolutely happened. So now you don't have that social connection there. But because it's so much easier to connect with people online from the comfort of your own home, we saw that during the pandemic when we were all forced to do that. People kind of lost out on that connectivity that you get in person. People lost out on the fact that, I can just talk to these people willy-nilly. I don't have to leave my house, when in order to get some sort of that interaction, pre-Facebook or even pre-social media, you had to go out to those live shows. You had to interact with those people. And it was it was the place you wanted to be. And because of course, when Facebook was in its, young and it started upbringing, once it kind of took over for MySpace and popularity around 2007, 2008, 2009, it's you started a Facebook account. You wanted to be on it because that's where everyone was. Before that though, it's where do you want to be where everyone else is? People are going to shows. People are going to these concerts, and that's how you're going to interact with people. That's how you're going to get to know these people. That's how you're going to get to connect with them. Now you could do it online, and you didn't have to go out there. And the convenience of that kind of could help keep people away from those live shows. So then the crowds are getting less and less, especially for the younger bands and the ones that were upcoming in the scene.
Oh, for sure. I think I was more along the lines of thinking of so where MySpace, a lot of it was based around music, because you were able to have your own. You were able to completely make your MySpace page your own. You could have your own backgrounds. You could have all that sort of stuff. So you could tell what a person liked right out the gate. And then you could also have your song just on there, or you could even embed your band could embed a song into somebody's chat or in stuff like that. You'd be like, oh, check this out, and boom, pop it right in there. There was it was so much more user friendly for musicians in general. But then, once that was gone, Facebook was all that there was, and it was just one thing. There was no music, there was no music option. Everyone was blue and white. It was all very streamlined and boring. But I think that was the big change that people at the time wanted. Everybody was there. And I mean, times change, but I think that was one of the biggest thing that sucks is that, we bring up, people bring up MySpace all the time, and it's never coming back. I get it. We all get it. But it sucks because all of the social media we have now, TikTok, YouTube, tech, sure, but Twitter and Facebook was all just fucking MySpace. And then we're what we should do? We should make a whole fucking bunch of them. Let's instead of being a one-stop place, let's just make a whole bunch of things for people to have instead of just the one. And I don't really understand why people don't want just one place to do it all. But don't get me wrong, I love TikTok. I love myself some YouTube. I got YouTubes. I watch it. I pay for ad free. But it's just wild how we had all of this in one place at one time, and then people were like, "Nah, let's make things hard."
Well, none of that, but it's just like you said, customizable to the point where you could click
Yeah.
on someone's profile and you could immediately tell what their style was, what they like, what music they were into, because you open up that profile and you're hearing Misery Business by Paramore being played, so you know exactly what they're into right at that point
Right.
in time. The background was different, could be different. If you knew HTML, you could do so many different things with it. But then take a look at like the prominent ones. Facebook. Yeah, when Facebook first started, it's like, especially when I jumped on it in 2009, it's the only way when people jumped on your profile, they could tell potentially what you were into is whatever you had in your profile picture or what you were wearing there. There was nothing
Right.
else that was there. Twitter was potentially the exact same thing. And then they added the banner photo. Instagram, it's like you can click on someone's profile, you can see the photos or the videos they post, but there's nothing that just stands out as like, this is this person. TikTok is the same way, because if you're scrolling through and you get on one video, that's going to be the thing that you think about that person's into. And if you like it, then you're going to go check out more. If you don't, then you're just going to scroll right past it. YouTube, I mean, you go to a YouTube channel and it's kind of the same thing. There's no place where you can just immediately get to have more of this information about people and get to connect with them on these different pieces and have this individual aspect of it. We kind of took that individualized aspect of Facebook and then broke it up into multiple, or I say MySpace, my bad,
Yeah.
and broke it up into multiple different social media sites with more simplicity behind them, but at the exact same time making it more complicated because now you have multiple different platforms you have to work with instead of one. But for a band, I mean, that could potentially also be a positive too, given how it works, because what happens if your style fits better on Twitter? What happens if your style fits better for Facebook? Your style fits better for TikTok? You're able to work within that, because if your style worked for MySpace, perfect. But if it didn't work for MySpace, then you got, when it comes to the online setting, you're kind of in a tough spot there because you're not good at the one thing that you need to be. Here you have the diversity to be good at multiple different things or be really good at one thing and take off with it.
Right. That's fair. Yeah. I mean, like right now, TikTok is what everybody is working towards. I don't know if that's what I think everybody should focus on anymore, but it is what everybody is currently doing.
All right, then what do you think everyone should be focusing on? Because I'm very curious to hear about that.
It's just tough. It's hard to like. I don't know if there is one thing right now. It's TikTok was number one about a year and a half ago. They completely changed how their algorithm and stuff does everything. So I have lots of friends that have 100,000 plus followers, right? But we'll get like 200 views on their videos when they were getting thousands all the time. TikTok during the height of it, like, which was like, I would say like 2021, 22-ish, when it was cool because any single person could go viral. Anytime. And pretty much if you made like 15 videos, one of them would go viral, like, or have some sort of sense of virability, maybe 10,000, 15,000. Would that get you followers? Blah, blah. Who knows? But it gives you that sense of like, that's what everybody wants, that's what you wanted. And it gave you that sense of like accomplishment. That's not, I wouldn't say the same, even close anymore. It's a lot more like how YouTube is. So you can like, even just Unsigned Pop Punk, we'll get few new followers a video. It all depends. Sometimes we won't get anything. Sometimes we'll get like 5,000 views. We've had 100,000 views. It all depends. But it's not as great for bands as it was. I still think it is one of the better forms of social media for artists in general, but it's not the way it was. And there's also the fact of, do you use TikTok?
I got off of it based off of, I was using it for the podcast, but I got off it for the sake of posting videos on there. And there was no purpose for people to be driven to the podcast off of TikTok. There was no way you could click a link or anything. There was no reason for people to click on your profile, or they just click follow and that's it, and they go to the next one. There was no viability for people to connect to the podcast and get to go further to it compared to using, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube. Right. So that's why I jumped off it, but I still understand its concept and what it does for bands currently. Right.
And so you even kind of hit the nail on the head right there. So the example I want to give is, so people are scrolling, right? Now, when you had TikTok at any point in time ever, and be honest, did you ever look at your follower page? Did you ever look at it? You'd click who you followed, right? And you would follow people, but did you ever go look at that following page?
No, I never did.
No, because nobody does. Nobody does. You can have 100,000 followers. That's awesome. But unless your videos keep coming up on that For You page, they're not going to go back to your channel. That's not what people do on TikTok. So you can have a ton of followers, but that doesn't always mean anything. You have to as a band, as an artist, you have to get lucky and hit that sweet spot where you, let's say 100,000 people see your song and holy shit. Then they go off of TikTok. They go to Spotify. They go anywhere else. They leave TikTok to find you. But that's the only way, though. It not like YouTube, where if somebody subscribes to you, they're gonna watch the rest of your stuff, because you pretty much watch who you subscribe to on YouTube. That's how you do that. Or Instagram, you see your followers, so you see who you're following. Facebook, same thing. But TikTok is its own weird creation, just kind of like Vine was, to where it's just a straight new stream of new content over and over and over again. Unless you there's certain TikTokers I have, like Jordan the Stallion. Fucking love him. He pops up for me all the time because I like his video every time I see it. And so that's the only way you're going to keep seeing these people, is if they keep coming up on your For You page.
Yeah, and because the two people that always kept coming up for me on TikTok on my For You page, it was always people for creators in the music industry, especially rock and metal, Erica Leanne and Lexi Messina, because I'm friends with them. So every time I'd see a video pop up of them, boom, I'd hit the like button. So it kept coming back, kept coming forward. But that was and maybe one or two bands that kept putting out different TikToks. I'd open it up, I'd have to look at something. Oh, this one was funny, I'll give it a like, kind of thing. So that kept coming through. But you're absolutely right. You're never really going to you're never really seeing that on the For You page. I think about it in a couple different aspects as well with the other platforms you can post that short form content on. YouTube, when you hit that subscribe button because of you're watching a short, then those videos are going to continue to come up, and that's the way that's based off of. Or for my aspect too, I put all the podcasts on YouTube. If you subscribe to a short, all of a sudden the next time I put out an episode for the podcast, that's going to show up as a notification for you. Instagram is very similar in that aspect as well. Facebook can differ because there's a difference between liking a page and following a page, where liking a page is going to get you everything in your feed from them, but just following, all of a sudden it's you're going to be, you go to Facebook, the real stuff, and all of a sudden you start scrolling through. Yeah, you might see it pop up every now and again, but then all of a sudden you go to the person's page. It's I've seen this happen before, because I kept seeing a couple pop up. Okay, I'm tired of these. I want to actually just not have to deal with them. You see the likes on the page. It's 200 likes, followers, 122,000 followers. It's well, you're getting people to watch your videos and to continue to potentially watch them, but you're not getting that sort of interaction there. So so when you're trying to actually put something out there, if you put a post out there, all the people that are following you, they're not going to see it.
Right. Yeah. So we Unsigned Pop Punk, we're on every social media. We were on, what was it, Hive? I think we even went to Hive. We it was brand new. We'll try it out.
Yeah.
If it's there, we pretty much have it. Obviously it all depends on what the social media site is, but yeah, for each thing, Facebook, we used each platform differently. I would say Facebook is really great for when I'm tagging, like if we post like the new playlist and I'll
Mm-hmm.
tag all of the bands on that. That's good because then all the bands will comment,
Mm-hmm.
and they comment on Facebook more than anything else on those posts. And those kind of get a wider reach because I'm like, okay, well, share it, share it. Let's make this bigger for everybody. That's the point. Um, and so that helps for that, but I'm not like, and if I have nonsense, if I want to say just nonsense, well, that's what Twitter's for. Twitter is for nonsense, for just saying dumb shit. That's Twitter. And Instagram is like our main hub. That's what we use for everything. That is, I think, for us, the most important. And we always try to direct everybody back to our website where everything is.
Mm-hmm.
But our main social media is pretty much Instagram. But yeah, and then you got to be on TikTok. You have to.
Yeah, I was saying you have to be on TikTok, even though I'm like, for me, it's just I didn't find the viability in it. I didn't see it, so I backed out of it. For a
Sure.
band, though, I mean, I totally understand it because take a look at the past couple of just the past year. We've seen bands that have really gotten those songs just to connect on TikTok and to really build up an even bigger following to get them to certain prominence. And the three that stand out to me in that moment are Bad Omens when Just Pretend became huge on TikTok because, yes, Bad Omens was massively blowing up in the scene already, but that just brought it into pop culture. The band Catch Your Breath with the song Dial Tone, they really took off with that one. And then at the beginning of the year, Sleep Token, just the viability of it really worked. But the thing is, it's perfect for music discovery because people can put those little clips of your song in there and you can listen to it and you're going to hear it right away. Just like if you jump onto someone's MySpace page back in 2007. But the difference is when it came to the MySpace page versus TikTok, with the MySpace page, you could see that song pop up. You could click on it and you could already go to that song. It was so easy to connect to that song and get it to download the MP3, or now it's like streaming. But when it comes to TikTok, though, it's like a labor to try and get off that site to go and try and find that song, even if it is not. If you're just switching apps, that's all you're doing. But because there's not that immediate viability of convenience, you have to basically have to create a reaction for people to jump off of TikTok at that moment, to go to Spotify, go to Apple Music, go to YouTube to actually check out the full song and connect with the band in that way. Then just I'm going to scroll to the next one. It's a lot easier just to keep going like this. Then it is to, okay, I'm going to go now do this. I'm going to go check this out. It's you've got to find a way to create that reaction to get people off of that app if you want to have your song be successful.
Agreed. And now that, and it's also the other thing is where TikTok is so popular, everybody's now all doing the same thing. So now it's all white noise. It's, you can scroll if you're liking pop punk stuff. Okay, well, you can scroll and pop punk. It's just like, it becomes overwhelming. So it's a lot harder to get people to hop off of that app. I remember the band that solidified that for me was Punk Rock Factory. They were the first band I saw on TikTok, and I was like, holy shit. They put out their song, their cover of the Moana song.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called. But I was like, holy shit. And I saved it. I liked it. I was like, okay. And I went and checked immediately, and it wasn't out yet. And I was like, pissed. I was like, how long are you gonna make me wait for this? And then when it finally came out, I was all over it. But they started they put out a TikTok for that song a month early before it ever was even released. And that was the first time where I was sold on TikTok for music. I was like, holy shit, Punk Rock Factory.
I'll say Designer Disguise did something very similar to that with their metalcore cover of Get Low by Little John. The exact same kind of thing. They put out just a fun random TikTok of it. They just did a chorus and I think the second verse, and that was it. They didn't even plan on doing a full version of it because
Right.
people kept asking for it. It's like, well, shit, now we got to do this.
Yeah, that's also another big thing for like that people do on TikTok is they make songs specifically for TikTok and then don't make a full version of it unless it actually takes off. And so that makes things difficult for the listener, because it's like, okay, well, that kind of sucks. So like for me with Punk Rock Factory, I couldn't go listen to it. I had to fucking wait. And I was like, is this ever going to come out? Like, is this just like, what is this? And people want that instant gratification. If it's not there, you're probably going to lose them.
Yeah, and but the other difficulty behind that too, from another band standpoint, is when you're constantly trying to stay relevant, when you're constantly trying to make sure that when you're staying in the minds of people, you're staying in the cultural zeitgeist. It's if you're going to be releasing these songs that you maybe just made for TikTok, where it could be a little bit easier to do the chorus, like cover for a chorus or come up with something that's really cool about it. And it's like, hey, we didn't know what to do with this piece, but we put it in just a 15-second TikTok video and it blew, and people now want the rest of the song. It's like you could have that whole rest of the song ready to go and then drop it right then and there. But then how do you do that like potentially on a week by week basis? Because it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be near impossible to come up with an idea for a song, write that song, get it recorded, mix, master, produce the whole 9 yards in like a week, so that if you're making those TikTok videos, you're ready to go for that if any song just randomly pops off in that moment. And if it's gonna be something like with Punk Rock Factory where you had to wait for a month, there's a lot of people that would be just excited as you are, like, oh my God, I gotta go and listen to this whole entire thing, and then you can't find it. They're just gonna move on to the next thing because okay, maybe there's another band, maybe there's a different band I like, or maybe I found something else on TikTok that got my interest. So it's like you had that moment of connectivity, but because the product that you had ready that was going to be the thing that was going to draw them to the band wasn't fully ready yet or wasn't out yet, you could lose so many different listeners and so many potential listeners based off of that, because that instant gratification for people is not there.
Right. It's a hill, man. It's like, what do you do? I mean, there's really no right decision. There isn't, and every way can work. I've seen it work for Punk Rock Factory, just as an example. Like they blew up, and good for them. Like they're just musicians now. Like that's their job. I have a friend from Minneapolis who blew up from TikTok, called Dury, and like he had a song went just massive, and now they're putting out their album finally coming out, and it's crazy. Like it can work, and it works for a lot of people, but all social media also can work, and doing shows, going out on tour. There's so many different avenues you can take. You just need to find the one that works for you.
Yeah, and it's going to be something that's going to be different for everybody, because I've seen bands where just their live shows are the thing that just you want to go and see them. It's like, use Gwar for an example. Gwar's not going to be on social media. They're not going to connect with people like that based on the type of content they would end up producing. But the experience that comes out with their type of live show, you want to go and be a part of it. So that's the viability of it. I think about my friends in the band Avoid, where it's like, I listen to music, I love music. Their live shows are absolutely energetic, ridiculous. But you look at them online, and it's just like these guys just seem like, they have like that crackhead type energy, or just having a blast with whatever the hell they do, and they don't take like life seriously at all. But it's something that's fun to follow, so that you have that different connectivity there. There's so many different things that you can do, and there's so many different platforms that you just kind of have to take a look and see what's going to be best for our personality, what's going to be the best for us to put out there, what's going to be the best strategy to get it out there, and then go for it on that one. Because again, how many users are there on Facebook? Even though it's, not as popular as it once was, there's still plenty of users on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. There's so many people that are constantly on those apps every single day, where maybe they see one tweet from you, they see one post from you, they see one video from you. And if you keep producing stuff like that, they're going to potentially see it again and again and again. And then they hit that follow button, they hit that subscribe button, then they go and check out your music, and then you get a fan. Yeah, it's a long and arduous process, but the bands that hit on it absolutely hit on it. And it's something where life is constantly changing. In maybe a year or so, TikTok will probably not be as popular as it is. There might be some other random social media site that comes up and takes over. People didn't think that MySpace was going to ever go away. And then boom, Facebook came in. People didn't think Facebook was going to be overtaken as king. And all of a sudden, here comes Twitter and Instagram to try and, throw a wrench into that. Vine came out and it's like, well, is anything ever going to come back like Vine? And then TikTok comes out and overtakes everybody. There's always going to be change that happens in there. And like you said, you're on every single social media platform because you never know what might pop off. And if you're going to be an early mover on that, especially from Unsigned Pop Punk, not only is it going to be more viable for you guys as a whole that are working with Unsigned Pop Punk, the Word All My Friends Go podcast, everything you're doing around there, but for all the bands that you end up promoting on that on there, if you guys become the de facto, go-to for that, especially on a platform that's going to become the most popular, everyone's going to want to come to you because they see you as the kind of like as that trusted thought leader in the scene over anybody else.
Right. And excuse me. I think another thing is like bands have to be open to that, or just artists in general have to be open to new forms of promotion. There have been there's a couple bands. There's one in particular, I'm not going to say any names or anything, but we're very adamant about they didn't want to do TikTok. They weren't going to start it. And they weren't really good at social media. And I was like, you might want to think about changing fields then. I mean, I don't know who you're looking to hit anymore, because you can't just walk around and hand out flyers. It doesn't work the same. Now, if you're going to go hand out flyers for your show or something, that can work in conjunction with other things, but you can't just not do social media. It doesn't work that way. You can't do that. It won't work anymore. You have to at least try. And I mean, if you're not willing to just try whatever the next thing that comes out, TikTok becomes overthrown by something else, well, you got to get on it. You got to try. Like, that's where people are. That's where people are going. They're not going to the fucking mall anymore. You gotta go where the people are. That's just the way it works.
I'll say you're absolutely right on that. If you're not where the people are, then how are you going to expect to get any sort of notoriety? How do you expect your band to grow in any capacity? And it doesn't even have to be something like, you have to perfect exactly that type of content. It's maybe just the concept around something you're doing and just completely just putting that that video out there could absolutely be massive. And I started thinking about the band Silly Goose, where they just go to random people's shows. I fucking
love Silly Goose.
And just punk rock as shit. They're going to go out after some band plays. They're going to play 3 songs in the parking lot. The cops are going to come tell them to shut it down, and then they're going to get the hell out of there. But people remember it. They're going to go play. They play in a freaking Subway or something just for the hell of it. And it's like people film it and people like put it out there. And now all of a sudden people are seeing, okay, who's this crazy band that keeps going on and playing these random pop-up shows after these concerts? I mean, they ended up following around Highly Suspect at the beginning of the year. And the last show for Highly Suspect's tour, they brought them up on stage because they're like, this is just too cool. Like, we can't help but not like support this.
Right. No, Silly Goose is probably one of the greatest examples of self-promotion I've ever fucking seen. I found them because of TikTok. I saw the video of them playing in the subway and I was like, well, what is this? And I'm like, rap rock, like Limp Bizkit. I'm fucking in. I am in. I'm so in. And I think they're great. I think Silly Goose, honestly, I was actually just telling my wife this earlier today that realistically, I think Silly Goose is probably going to be my number 1 most listened to on my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year.
Really?
I like them very much. I listen to them. I listen to that album multiple times a week. The whole album.
Have you ever gone to see one of their little pop-up shows though?
I haven't yet. They either were supposed to be coming to Minneapolis with Spirit Box. They were following that tour, or they already did and I missed it. But I know that we were talking about trying to go to it, but Yeah, I think they're awesome. They're very, very cool dudes.
So now I want to look this up because I know they had the whole entire like lineup of where they were going to show up. Because now that you're talking about the Spirit Box tour and the day that we're recording this, I know it's like for me, it's the show is really close to me because it's going to be in Chicago the next couple of days. So it's like it either just was in Minneapolis or is about to go there. So they might be showing up.
I thought it was in May sometime, but I could be wrong.
I know, I'm trying to see if I can find the lineup where I just keep seeing videos of them playing like after like a highly suspect shows.
Oh,
and
sure,
then
sure.
potentially getting arrested because that's just kind of, they're not.
It's
they're
cool.
Not, it's punk rock is all hell, and I absolutely love every bit of it. Like,
and I also just like, I'm a product of that new metal scene. I was a big fan of Limp Bizkit and Chord and Mudvayne and all Slipknot, and I still listen to new metal. I think it's great. It's fun as shit.
And it's like it's kind of making that more of that revival once again because there's a lot more bands that are implementing that kind of style back in. I mean, it's not as like the type of new metal you'd be listening to in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's not gonna be the exact same, but there's a lot of bands that are implementing those elements back to it, and they're starting to grow in terms of their prominence. I mean, Silly Goose, just with the crazy stuff they're doing. One of my favorite bands out there right now is From Ashes to New, and they implement a lot of that rap rock style perfectly. So, and they're playing with, they're going on tour. They're getting these opening spots. Yeah, they're opening an arena tour for Shinedown. So the viability is definitely there, and more people are getting into it. Limp Bizkit's popular again. Like they're massively popular again.
That last album was fucking great, man. It was good. The Limp Bizkit still sucks. Oh, it's good. Good stuff.
Then having Fred Durst go all dad mode on everybody.
It's great. It's genius because it's like he is a dad, and play off of that. You gotta know your audience.
And even take a look, it's like now festival season is going to be upon us, and like they're playing multiple festivals, and they have those headlining spots for those days, and people are excited to go see them because you get to go see Limp Bizkit again, or you get to go see Limp Bizkit for the first time, and you get to potentially be in the crowd and break stuff literally and have a blast
with Wes Borland back too.
Yes,
so it's cool. It's just like Tom DeLonge being back, except Blink-182 is I think cooler than Limp Bizkit, but only with Tom DeLonge.
Fair enough. And now Blink-182, they're out on tour. They're doing that whole entire arena tour thing right now. You got Limp Bizkit coming back. I mean, it's just like the nostalgia factor is kicking off again, but it's still the good quality music is back into it, but you're getting all the people to come back and play all the you're getting the original members back. Tom DeLonge's back, Wes Borland's back. It's just you can't help but just smile and just enjoy it.
Oh yeah, it's an awesome time for music. I think I'm very happy with what is happening, and it's great because this is my generation's music is coming back and being popular, and we're the I was telling my wife, we were talking about, like I said, we were talking about Silly Goose earlier today, and I was just like thinking it's funny because I was like the guys in that band are a product of people like my wife and I, who when they were kids, they grew up there, their mom most likely was listening to Limp Bizkit and other new metal. That's the music that they listened to, and that's how they came across it. When I was growing up, my dad listened to Black Sabbath but then like Creedence Clearwater Revival and shit. So it's like, it just that's how music is like going to change and grow. And I'm stoked that my metal tattooed generation is leading the charge right now.
Well, one thing I'm kind of been happier about too is, especially like when I first started doing the podcast and stuff and just started getting into all this, my biggest concern was I was taking a look at the bands that were, especially on these festival lineups. It's like, okay, who are these big bands? Who are the ones that are on top of the bill? And it was always bands that were over like 20, 25 years into existence, where it's like, can we get something new to potentially come in? But now you're seeing, I'm starting to see a little bit more of this mix between it where it's, you get the bands like Limp Bizkit coming back. You're getting Blink-182 to come back to absolute prominence once again. But you're seeing on these festival lineups, like you're seeing bands like Bad Omens go from, maybe playing maybe early in the day or maybe midday. Now they're going to be playing, they're almost on top of the bills on some of these. You're seeing Spirit Box rise up, Sleep Token rising up. Turnstiles headlining some of these. It's like,
keep Turnstiles out with Blink right now.
Yeah, it's like, keep this coming, keep this rolling, because you're still seeing the connection between the stuff that had been popular for so long and stuff that now, the next generation can get really into, and is stuff that was basically birthed by, the generation that you came from, because all the kids that are really making the music right now, what do their parents listen to? Like you said, they were probably listening to Chord, Limp Bizkit, listen to Blink-182, listening to The Offspring. I mean, keep rolling with it. Slipknot, Disturbed, they're listening to that stuff. So now the kids that are coming up now, it's like that's where their initial influence started. Where your initial influence started is like, you said like Black Sabbath, CCR. Mine with my dad, it was like Van Halen, ZZ Top, Rush. Electric Light Orchestra, and now I'm all like, punk rock, hard rock, metalcore. Yeah.
Well, and also when you really like think about it, and like kind of like, music's always changing, right? It's always changing, but there's only so much we can really do, and like especially with like technology and stuff. So back when my dad, was a kid, it was completely fucking different than now. So like 20 years from when my dad was a kid, or like not 20 years, but like, so just that 20-year gap between when I was, just a baby. So in the 80s until 2000, huge fucking difference in everything, right? Everything, technology boomed, huge boom. But let's be honest, 2000 to 2020 hasn't changed a lot, because technologically we're there, things change, but it's a slight change, not like massive changes. And so same thing with like music. Now we're seeing from 2000 to now 2023, there's changes, but it's slight. It's pretty much all very, very similar music, because what are you going to do? You can go heavier a little. I mean, you can't go much heavier anymore. So you're seeing like, if somebody liked like a band like Korn, when they were younger, they're going to like Spirit Box. It's not a ton different. It's, music is growing, but it's only changing slightly now. So we have more time. At least that's what I think.
That's something that actually is starting to make a lot more sense now that I think about it.
Yeah.
And why especially the music from, when, think about the year 2000, when you would be like, kind of like the musical prominence, kind of like where your life was like that. It's usually around that time. Like, I think it was, I forget what I was talking about. It's like, we usually find our favorite bands around the time we're like 13, 14 years old. Like, that's when it's solidified. And even with me, I'm just like, well, who was my favorite band when I was 14 years old? And then I just look down at my shirt. I'm like, oh yeah, is Rise Against still my favorite band? Yup. Has a lot of music I've listened to changed since that time? Yeah, but this still stays the same. But you think about it too, it's just, like you said, from 1980 to 2000, massive amount of change. Technologically, I mean, there's been a lot of changes from 2000 to 2020, but that technology change expanded the ability for us to discover more new bands and more new music, but it's somewhere we're easily more able to discover more bands that fit into the certain styles that we like. So we're able to stick within that a lot easier. So like I said, if you like Korn back in the 90s and early 2000s, you're likely going to be really, really down with Spirit Box when they dropped Eternal Blue 2 years ago. If you're really into something that like more like, like The Cure, if you're into something a little bit more on that like darker side, but like that darker tone, you probably really, really enjoyed The Death of Peace of Mind last year. And you're probably really enjoying what Sleep Token's doing right now. There's so much where it's like that change is there, but it's not as drastic as going from, Led Zeppelin and the Back in Black album to Limp Bizkit. Like that change is massive compared to, going from Korn to Spirit Box.
Right, exactly. Because I mean, like, heavy in the 70s and 80s. Black Sabbath was motherfucking heavy as Kiss. They were heavy metal, baby. Or like, and so, but it's like somebody that likes Kiss and Black Sabbath probably doesn't like Acacia Strain though. I bet you they don't. Like it's like I like, as when like 15 years ago, I was super into like metalcore, As They Lay Dying and shit like that. And it's like, cool. Well, and any metal that comes out now is still metal and screaming. It's not doing anything like completely different. It's still the same thing. It's just different music, different way of composing, different singing. But somebody that likes As They Lay Dying doesn't probably really love Elvis.
Yeah.
It's a completely different thing. It's a whole different generation.
Yeah, or like you said, like kind of thinking about, the people that really were heavy into, Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, listen, I'll use it just doing massive different example. Listening to Slipknot for them, it has to be just a completely just mind-bending, like, this is not what I signed up for experience. But people that really like Slipknot, I'm trying to think of something that'd be even heavier right now. Like, people that like Slipknot might end up listening to like Slaughter to Prevail and just be like, or most likely like, I'm totally into this. And it's, you're going in a heavier aspect of it, but that changes. But the change between Black Sabbath and Slipknot is so much wider than like Slipknot and Slaughter or Slipknot and Lorna Shore.
Right. I agree. Yeah, 100%. Like, so music's changing, but not to the extent that it was. And that's a lot of that is based on technology. As our technology grows, our art grows as well.
Yeah, and again, it's so much easier for a lot of us to just connect and listen to the same kind of music that we really like. I'm not saying the same bands, but find bands and find artists that are doing a lot of the same thing, and kind of bringing it back to the whole entire unsigned pop punk idea. When it comes down to it, when it comes to pop punk as well, it's, there's a lot of people that still really love that kind of music. People that clamor for the people like, I still miss like 2005 with all that good kind of stuff coming out. But now they're finding a place where they can go to and really discover all of that in one large convenient place. Where is the change from the style from like 2005 to 2023 going to be massive? It's not going to be that massive, no. But because you love that kind of a sound, you're going to find so many new bands that you absolutely can get into, you absolutely are going to love. And that's why you're going to see bands like what Magnolia Park right now really doing well with what they're doing. You're going to see bands like that start to grow, and you're going to find more and more of those instances when we have more and more places to go where we know exactly we can go there to discover all of these great bands in a much easier way than having to just, okay, I'm going to go to Spotify and I have to do all this different type of, like the for fans of, or bands that are similar and kind of like start clicking through all these. No, you're basically taking that idea and again, mixing it with MTV, mixing it with TRL, mixing it with all that stuff, putting it all together and making it as easy as possible for pop punk fans to get into so many more new bands, whether they have been around for a while or whether they're just starting out or anywhere in between. You're giving it the opportunity and you're giving those bands the potential and support they need to go forward when at times things can seem like all hope is lost. You're providing that sense of hope for them, which is absolutely fantastic.
Well, thank you. That's the goal. That's the goal. One of the things I really enjoyed doing about doing Unsigned Pop Punk is, when I started doing this, the idea was, part of it was also to figure out how, because Unsigned Pop Punk is a blanket, it's a blanket term, but we work with more than just pop punk bands. We basically wanted to take what the music scene was in the early 2000, early 2010 time, to where a hardcore band, a pop punk band, an emo band could all play on one show, and everybody watched everybody and everybody loved everybody. And so one of the things I wanted to do is, we have on our playlist, on our shows, it's the scene, the entire scene. So do we have a lot less metal? Absolutely. But if like, just as an example, Acacia Strain, like they released a new song, cool. I like it. I'm in. You know, I fucking love Acacia Strain. I love heavy shit too. And I feel like most pop punkers also like a lot of stuff. You know, they like emo, they like it some, softer, some of the softer emo stuff. They like metalcore, they like like hardcore. And so we try to put everything all in one space, and Unsigned Pop Punk is just the blanket name, because we've I don't have to do it as much anymore. But when I was starting out, I would have people be like, well, we're not pop punk. Like, that's okay, that's fine. You're good. You're part of the scene. We're good. So I'm happy that I don't have to do that as much anymore.
I'll say that's good, but another thing too is like when you see, Unsigned Pop Punk, you're going to attract a lot more of the pop punk crowd in terms of seeing that name. But so many people that like so many different other styles of music also do have that strong affiliation for pop punk, so they're going to end up coming through as well, and then discovering even more. So even by having that name, which seems like it potentially can limit it, it's not necessarily limited away because of how strong of a connection so many people have positively with that genre. So it's going to entice them to, check out the profiles, check out what you guys got going on, discovering more. It's like, in a weird way, it's like limiting, but not limiting the discoverability of the whole entire project, which is really, really cool. Like it's specific, but it's general at the same time.
Yeah. It's wild. Because when I first started, like I said, this, I was working at a group home. I was sitting in the basement on my computer, writing down and had a notepad next to me, just coming up with a bunch of different names, trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do with this. And I was just like, Unsigned Pop Punk, I like it. Let's just go with that. We'll go with that for now.
Yeah.
We could change it later. And I never did.
I know the exact same thing when I was trying to come up with the name for the podcast. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell to come up with. So I just if I say chord progression, it's a guitar thing. People will get that's about music. Let's just roll with it. I can always change it at some later point in time. That was early 2019 when I put that down. I'm like, yeah, we'll change it at some point. Yeah, it's been about 400 episodes already, and I haven't changed it because I am not going to do it.
Nah,
like
nice.
It fits now. Like it just fits. It fits now. I'm like, I'm rolling with it. It's like, oh, I need to come up with a perfect name. You want how many people came up with a perfect name? They just came up with something and just ran with it. Like Silly Goose. Like,
right. Was Bowling for Soup the perfect name? Like, come on. Like, was it? It worked. It worked. You don't know what's gonna work. You just gotta just do it. And if you come up with a product, a good enough product, it'll work regardless.
Yep, and if there's anyone that's a testament to that right now, I mean, just take a look at Unsigned Pop Punk, just bringing more and more presence that you see. Again, is it as a massive success as some other places right now? Not yet. I want to say not yet because I mean,
I like it. Not yet.
There's always work to be done. There's always that viability to create, and there's always that passion behind there as well, which is clear. So one more thing before we get going, Patrick, and it's going to be the rest of the year. What's exciting about Unsigned Pop Punk? Where'd all my friends go? Like, what are you excited about the rest of the year? Because if there's something you're like, oh man, we're gonna try and do this, or oh, we're excited about this, I want to get more people pumped up about it.
Well, we're hoping to try and make it out to a couple festivals. We've had a couple snags on that front, but we're hoping to at least get out to Four Chord Festival. We've done it the last 2 years now. But otherwise, we've got our own things we're working on. We've got a punk rock flea market up in Duluth, Minnesota. So there's live bands and vendors and things like that. Food. It's a good time. We did it last year, and this will be year 2. We've got gosh, what do we got? I don't know. So many things. We have our brand new Unsigned Pop Punk Top 10 video countdown we're doing on Twitch every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. it's very reminiscent to TRL. You know, we got Super Gibby. He is our VJ, our resident Twitch VJ, and everything is voted on. So we don't decide any of the videos. Like all we did was we decided on the first 30 rotation of music videos, and then people vote on it, and from there that it's out of our hands. So you can go to our website, unsignedpoppunk.com, go under the TV tab, vote for your favorite favorite band, and it's every Wednesday it switches. Currently, at this moment in time, I don't know when the podcast comes out, but at this moment in time, House Parties is the reigning 2-week champ. So good for them.
Good. I'll say good for them, and hopefully by the time this comes out, because it won't come out too much further after that, hopefully I think maybe 2 weeks after that, so maybe they'll be the 4-week champ by the time the episode drops.
Maybe we're hitting that Hall of Fame status. But yeah, we've got our shows on Twitch every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So if you are a Twitch person, come hang out, watch music videos, find new music. Our podcast, Where Did All My Friends Go, comes out every Monday. Our playlist updates every other Sunday. Friday is New Music Friday, so it's a busy day. So every day of the week except for Saturday. Saturday is special events only.
Fair enough. And there is so much you guys got going on, and I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to actually go and check this stuff out. So I'm in this podcast with 3 specific things. First things first, Patrick just told you everything about Unsigned Pop Punk, Where All My Friends Go, and how cool all this stuff is, and how you can be a part of all of this. And the best way to do it is going to be by just joining in. But where do you want to join in? Do you want to join on social media? On Twitch? Just follow the playlist? Anything like that? You want to know the best place you can find that is? Go to the description of the podcast, say find Unsigned Pop Punk online. There's going to be links for literally everything. There's going to be labels for everything. So if you want to just go to the Twitch channel, boom, you go right there. Go to Instagram, boom, go right there. Go to the website, boom, go right there. Find the playlist, boom. I've got the links already for you. I'm making it as easy as possible. It's going to be a one-click, one-stop shop. So convenience is key. We talked about that with the whole entire TikTok thing with all of social media. So I'm taking that fully on this one, like I always do. You have no reason not to take part of this. And Patrick, it's time for number 2. Whenever I've guests on the podcast, I enjoy having on the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise, and it's usually bands that I do this promise with, but sure. I'm going to have to turn this around at some point in time. Okay. I know you're from Minnesota. I am from Wisconsin. I do come up to Minnesota every now and again because I did go to school up there. So when I get a chance to come back up to Minnesota, there'll probably be a lot of shows going on up there because there usually is. And I'll probably run into you at one of them. And when I do, I'm going to go all Liam Neeson. I will look for you. I will pursue you. I will find you. And the first round's on me.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
That's always how it rolls. Because, man, now it's time for number 3. I can't say goodbye on this podcast. I hate doing that because it is way too final. I love this conversation. This was an absolute blast. I would love to have you back on the podcast in the future. I love supporting Unsigned Pop Punk. I love to continue to do that. And man, I made a promise to you, so I got to make good on that promise, right? So goodbye is too final. Can't be like that. Has to be. I'll see you later, man.
See you later.
Well, folks, this is my interview with Patrick from Unsigned Pop Punk and the Where Did All My Friends Go podcast. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought. The one thing that Patrick said that really stood out to me outside of the fact that, the whole entire social media conversation, the music industry conversation, everything around there, the thing that stood out to me the most was something he said right at the beginning. And that is when it comes to, you're a younger band and you're constantly trying to make it, you're constantly playing these shows and you're trying to get people to come out there and people aren't showing up, it can be absolutely just like devastating because you think people are out there, they're going to support you, they're going to come to your shows and they just don't do it. And a lot of bands have gone through this, and that kind of rejection consistently and that kind of just dejection can really make a lot of bands question what they're doing and potentially just quit. And it's a terrible thing because you never want to see a band quit like that. You just don't want to see it happen. So the fact that Unsigned Pop Punk, the initial idea behind it was to give support to some of these bands and to grow the music scene, but also, again, give support to those bands when sometimes people aren't going to give them that support, just to show them, hey, we're here, we see you, we like what you're doing, and we're here to support every step of the way. That is something that stands out as such a positive in the music scene that it's something, I want to continue to support. and continue the Chord Progression podcast mission too, that partially goes within bringing more bands prominence to the scene and getting more people to know about them. I mean, we've had great bands on the podcast from the beginning of it, with bands like Kingdom Collapse, with bands like when GFM was still around, our friends in Rosie, when we first interviewed Benny from Avoid, and even some of the bigger bands we've had on too, like August Burns Red. We've had Doc Coyle from Bad Wolves. We recently just had one with Joey Sturgis. Like, from small to big, no matter what, we want to get more people to know about the music, to love the music, and to feel like they can connect with it. And the more we support those artists, the better off the scene is going to be. And Unsigned Pop Punk keeps that going. So make sure you follow along with Unsigned Pop Punk and everything. Go subscribe to the podcast, say follow Unsigned Pop Punk online. Links and labels for everything. Go give them a follow. Go discover new music with them. It is going to be something you will not regret. Make sure to follow along with the Chord Progression podcast, where you can do the exact same thing with a lot of these podcasts. We're on Facebook and Instagram primarily, so go and follow us on those platforms. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, because you can watch all of these podcasts in full, or hit subscribe if you're listening to Survival Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or anywhere else you might be listening to the podcast, because you can subscribe there, listen to the whole entire thing, and still enjoy it just as much, whatever you prefer. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Any support helps, so we really appreciate it, along with the bands that we have out as well. So thank you very much. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. Remember, 20% off using the code CPP20FX.com, link description of the podcast. Thank you, Patrick, once again for being on the show. Thank you for doing what you do, and we'll continue to support you in every step of the way. On that note, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, listening to the Chord Progression podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. Is a big, healthy, and hearty see ya! Yeah.